Start us on, you ready?
Hi, Daniel.
Adam, hi.
Let's just reflect, well, not reflect, but let's look forward. No Junior Firpo, no Stuart Dallas. Joe Gellart, hip injury, was he the most likely to be involved, or is he still out?
Well, we will see. So we had a few knocks after the last game and had to manage a load, and also with Joey got a few problems after last week. So in the beginning of the week, Sam Byram and Chris Somerville and also Joffy had a few problems. We had to manage a load a little bit, but all three were re-involved in training today. So I expect them all to be available and fit and to be ready. So that means obviously we've got the injury of Junior Firpo and the situation with Jan Poveda with his call up for the Colombian international team. So apart from this, more or less the only question mark is a bit Luke Ayling, because he had 2 proper days of training in the last couple of days, but reported then yesterday after the training some light knee problems. So for that we managed this load today. I hope that he is able to train back with the team tomorrow in order to be available. But this is at the moment, I would say, more or less the only concern.
Jan Poveda going to Colombia, obviously it's a great honour and you've talked about that, but would you prefer to have him with you, Daniel?
Well, obviously you always want to have all your players in each and every game available. So for that, obviously you would have preferred that you have also Jan available. But on the other hand, it's also that we always allow a player, if he's called up, to go to his national team. This was a bit special one because it was not a normal call-up period, and but it's like you mentioned, so great honor for each and every player to represent his home country, and especially for Jan with his roots, the first time that he was called up, and for that we got the feeling because he was also desperate to go. It's a great honor, also like with his family roots, and for him also a big chance to shine for his motherland, and for that we decided to allow him also to go. Obviously, I would have preferred to have him also available for the next days. He will return back on the 18th. At least that's the plan at the moment. But we also thought, okay, he didn't have that many minutes in the last game, and it could also be a big boost for his mood and for his confidence if he comes back after big reception for him also in individual terms, and want to give him the opportunity and also to get then the benefit also and the reward for ourselves when he comes back full of confidence and with a big boost and with a big mood. And yes, imagine what would have happened if we wouldn't allow this, and he would perhaps train not motivated and disappointed and leave him out of the squad. And we also have no chance, and also the sign that it would send to him that we don't care about his wishes and also about his individual career, and also the sign that it would send to all the other lads in the squad that we are just selfish and not thinking about our players. So I think it was the only solution also to allow him, to let him go, and it's definitely then also a big chance that he comes back in a good mood and also grateful and plays then further on with euphorism. And let's say in case there happens something strange in the next games with many injuries or whatever, we still have the chance to call him back. So I think it was definitely the right decision to allow him to go.
Who does that prevent an opportunity for then this weekend, with him not being here?
Well, for all players who were perhaps then not in the squad in the last game. So we'll make a late decision if we take then a more perhaps defensive-minded player or midfield player, or perhaps even one of the offensive players who were not involved. I think about Joe Gellart, if he's really fully available, or Matteo Joseph, for example, 2 players who would have definitely also deserved to be in the squad in the last games, or some of the other players. So we'll make a late decision, and it's always the same. When a player is not available or not eligible to play, then it's always a chance to shine for a different player, and we'll see what happens in training.
Discipline has been really good this season, Daniel. Not one player has suffered a needless suspension for 5 cautions. Have you worked on that, or how pleasing is it that you've managed to keep that down?
Not particular, but it's also one of my values I want to work with, so that we always want to show class and style in the way we behave, and I don't want any unnecessary sending offs or yellow cards or booking or suspensions. because it makes your life not easier. We always speak about that on this level, 2 or 3% can be decisive, and if you have to play in underload, for example, after sending off or after whatever yellow red card, it's not just 2 or 3%. It's a major problem anyhow. So we always talk about that we want to stay disciplined and don't want to work with unnecessary fouls and unnecessary cards, and it's definitely a topic I insist on, and I want my players to be smart in these moments, not naive. So we know. So sometimes we have to be there also with a little tactical foul or whatever, but to do it in a smart way and just use this type of fouls when it's definitely unavoidable. I don't like fouls because it means also the opponent has got a free kick opportunity, and especially on this level, quite often it offers them a chance to send all the strong and tall centre backs up front and to be there with a good corner kick and wide area free kick. It's difficult to defend. So I want us to stay disciplined and smart and not over emotional. So far, so good. So hopefully, because you've mentioned it right now, it won't happen in the next game. So I'm a bit scared to mention it that much, but you have mentioned it. So, and you're definitely allowed to do this. So hopefully we can keep going in this way.
But it is a balance, isn't it? Because part of the DNA of the club is, let's say, putting your foot in, being tough.
Yeah.
So it's quite hard to manage, I would imagine.
Yeah. We want to be competitive, and I also like when the fire is burning. So without euphorism and being highly motivated, you can't be successful in football. So I think it's fine margins, but I always mention the phrase that you play with fire in the heart but cool in the head. This is quite crucial, because if you're over emotional and over excited, there's also no way to win football games. Sometimes perhaps a game, but over the course of the whole season, it's not that you will be successful. So you have to make sure that you always manage it in a smart way and in a balanced way. And we try to do this. And yes, so far so good, I would say.
5 weeks ago, you talked about Glenn Kamara and how he needed just to get up to sharpness, and that lack of games, even the back end of last season, the pre-season, what have you, has affected him. In 5 weeks, how far do you think he's developed? Are we near seeing peak Kamara now?
Yes, there's never a perfect game, not for a team and also not for an individual player, and also for Glenn, there's even more to come and more consistency to come. But when I judge more or less like his last 5-6 games, I would say he has played on a top level and was so important for us. His decision making on the ball, also he's capable also with his experience and also with his class to find a good balance between speeding up the game, but also like to calm sometimes our game a bit down, that because we play quite often, sometimes a bit overexcited. Sometimes it's also important to prepare the situation even a bit more, and especially him with his class and his experience and his calmness on the ball, he's priceless for us. But I also liked a lot that he was really competitive against the ball and won many individual duels and was aggressive in our pressing and also in recovering of the balls. And I think especially in the last weeks, he was quite crucial for our game, and I was quite pleased with him. And he can go exactly further on this way.
Finally, for me, Blackburn Rovers have a very high-scoring attacking midfielder in Schmodix. What are they doing so well to create so many chances for him? What is it that's their success, if you like?
Well, I like the side, and I really rate them, and I rate the work of Jørn Dahl a lot. I think they're doing a fantastic job. Really good possession side, a bit unpredictable and very brave, and sometimes even a bit crazy in a positive way. In possession, very, very fluent with many rotations and positional changes. It's so difficult if you want to follow in each and every movement. So I think it's quite important that you are rock solid against them. Also need a good structure against the ball, because they can create a lot, and is one of the teams who created many chances, and most of the chances and even expected goals on this level. So really offensive threat, and many good players on individual level, especially in the offense. Obviously with him also a standout player in terms of goals, but they have many threats, and we have to be really rock solid and well structured and disciplined in our work against the ball. If we do this, then I think we also have our opportunities to shine and also to create chances and to hurt them. But it's really good side. If you're not spot on, this team can hurt each and every team in this on this level, and we are quite respectful. So not full of fear. We will travel respectful, but we need to be there with our best performance in order to give ourselves a chance to win the points.
Hi, Daniel. Patrick Bamford has had a difficult couple of years with injuries, very difficult, and then there was the social media abuse that he suffered last season that must have taken a toll as well. Has he fully recovered from all of that? Because it must have taken a mental toll. And what's he been like in and around training recently?
Well, we are all happy that we have Patrick, also with his experience and also with his quality as a player. It was no coincidence that he has an England call up, and was also there with double figures and many goals the last time when we played in this league, and especially I think his first Premier League season was on the top level. Obviously, for him, it's always important that he stays fit, and his body had to deal with a lot in the last couple of years, and it's also never easy then from the mental side, because especially as an offensive player, you need to be a bit in your rhythm. And I think for him it was beneficial and important that he was able, after his long-term injury, also in our last friendly, and he missed then the first part of the season. That in the last weeks he was then able to train with us. Was a bit unlucky for him that our offensive players were delivering so many end products and so many good performances that he was struggling to get a bit more minutes, perhaps. But we were all happy that we have him, because he's a proven goal scorer on this level, and obviously it's also a bit easier to shine with goals and assists and end products when you start more or less each and every game. It was a bit difficult because yes, when you just get 30 minutes or sometimes just 20 minutes, it's not that easy then to score. But he always looked quite sharp, or at least in most of his appearances, he looked quite sharp when he came in. And it's also good because our offensive players up front, they know they can't afford to give 2 or 3% less, and because a quality player with many skills like Patrick is also available, and we're pretty pleased that we have him, and also got the feeling so the only thing that is missing, that he comes more and more into his rhythm, and then I'm quite sure that he can also deliver many end products for us in the end.
It must be a big challenge for a player who has been relied upon as much as Patrick was initially here, to then see someone else come in and play in the 9 spot. As a striker, can you sympathise with that situation, and have you experienced that yourself?
Yes, and especially, if I'm honest, especially in my younger years, I was also struggling when I was not the main man and just came in just for a few minutes, and it's never that easy. But also Patrick has meanwhile also the experience. Also, one good outcome of many individual setbacks in terms of injuries is also that you can be a bit more relaxed in the situation, and also that you are also happy for your teammates. And when I speak about Patrick, I can't praise his character enough, because he's always the first one who celebrates with Georgie, with Joel when they score, and even in training they have so much fun together and joke together. And Patrick is quite often there with little hints. Even at halftime, he goes sometimes to a young player like Jorginho Rutter and gives him some hints about for his movements and what he can do better. So I'm quite pleased that we have, especially in the offense, players who judge themselves a bit like a special squad in our squad. And this was also the message that I gave in the beginning of the season, because I'm not out for the Golden Boot this year. So Patrick has won it. Joel was there with back-to-back seasons with more than 20 goals. Jorginho Rutter has proved that even in Germany on Bundesliga level that he can score many goals. So it's not important that we win individual awards. It's just important that we are successful as a team, and everyone knows that we have many quality players, and it's perhaps even a bit easier for a player win the Golden Boot if you play for a team where you know you play each and every second. So for us, it's important that we also share a bit the load, and sometimes in the last games I substitute Joel or Georgie in order to give them a little bit rest, to keep them fresh over this period. And quite often, last minutes of the game, you can score the most amount or biggest amount of your goals when the opponent is even a bit tired. So it means so they are not just, obviously they want to score as many goals as possible, but they are not addicted to just the individual score line. So they're just addicted to team success, and this is what we want. And for that, I'm quite happy that we have such a good relationship, not just between them three, but between all of our offensive players. And it's quite important to have this spirit to share with them.
Hello, Daniel. When we spoke about Joel earlier in the season, you said you knew your business when it came to strikers. You said you didn't want people putting the idea in Joel's head that he was playing in the wrong position whenever he didn't score. To see him now on 8 goals in 16 games, that magic 1 in 2 benchmark that strikers look for, how important is that for him and his confidence and belief that this system is working for him?
Yes, end products are always crucial for the confidence of offensive players, but I think what even more shines for Joel, how much he works for the team, also like the distance that he's covered in some of the last games, 12, 13K is amazing, and is also due to improved fitness level, and also how he links meanwhile the play and let other players shine. So I think this is quite crucial, and I think he's also a major part with his movements, and that he took so much of the spotlight of the opponent's defense on himself that players like Chris Summerville or also Daniel James can shine with perhaps even unpredicted amount of goals and assists so far. So I think he's crucial for our whole offensive game, and I wouldn't judge Joel so far just by his goals, but also the space that he creates for players like Chris Summerville, like Daniel James, like Jorginho Rutter is also quite crucial, but also his workload for the whole team to have a good balance between our defense and offense, but that he's still able to score already 8 goals. Yeah, is amazing, and I'm pretty pleased with him.
Willie suffered that injury at Hull, which kind of stopped his rhythm, if you like, and it's been hard for him to get back in the team since. How do you rate his impact off the bench at the moment, and do you feel like you're seeing enough from him in terms of an impact?
Yes, it's a bit the same for Patrick. It's never easy if you have an injury and you come back in and you haven't played for a few weeks, then to be at your best level, and you have to use sometimes just 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in order to be there at your best. It's never easy. It's always easier when I have a player, I tell him, okay, listen, you've got the next 4 or 5 games to get back in your shape, and don't worry, you play the next 5 games, 90 minutes. But we have got a strong group and lots of competition, and it's not affordable to bring him back on his best level with giving him just 4 or 5 games in the starting lineup. So he had a few, for example, at Stoke, and a few also appearances after substitutes when he came in and had 30, 35 minutes, and you have to use this, and you have to use the training sessions to be back at your best shape. And I think he had several games when he made a big impact. When I think, for example, about the Norwich game when he came in and was excellent, or Rotherham game when he came in and was excellent. Sometimes it was not that easy for him to shine, but yeah, that's sadly the hard road that you have after injury, and it's not Willie's fault, but also not our fault anyhow that there was this injury. It was just a bit unlucky, and we speak a lot with him, so it's more like, come on, stay patient, stay a bit stubborn, also accept when sometimes it's also a bit difficult to come in and to shine, because sometimes, especially as a young player, you're even a bit over motivated and want to save the world just within a few minutes. It's more like calm yourself down, stay patient, but also stay relentless and keep going, and don't be too concentrated on delivering goals and assists. More like concentrate yourself on working hard for the team, because if you're good within the game, if you're good working for the team, then the goals and the end products are coming itself. So it's a bit like karma. So just concentrate on being there with linking the play well, being there with a good workload. Think about the team, and this is what he's doing. And I'm quite sure that he will have even more impact and will be back at his best pretty soon. And if he's back at his best, we don't have to talk about his potential. I have to say what I like a lot about Willie at the moment is also his attitude. Obviously, he's a young player, young Italian international, and he was used to shine always. He was always a poster boy, and at the moment it's also not that easy when he's sometimes quite long also on the bench, but also when we score goals or do positive things for us and how much he celebrates and supports the team. I think about the last games when Chris Summerville scored, and the first one who was celebrating with him on the pitch was Willie Gnonto. This is what I like a lot. Jet Spencer, by the way, as well. So I like at the moment our team spirit, that we are also happy for the teammates, and this is always a good solution in order to find your best way back. But yes, at the moment he has to be stubborn and has to be patient, but has to keep going, and then quite sure he'll be back at his best, I'm sure.
The points total of the top 4 teams in the division is pretty exceptional, to say the least. Why do you think it's been so strong this season, and how much of this is better budgets, better players?
It's difficult to say. So for me, it's really this season one of the most competitive and strongest championship season, I would say, in the whole last decade. But it's also a long season, and there are always positive spells. It's also sometimes coincidence when 2 or 3 teams are winning that many points, like for example Leicester and Ipswich were doing in the beginning of the season. So I think over a whole course of 46 games, sometimes it's then also a bit leveled in the end. But the most important topic is that you are concentrated on yourself, and in the end of the season, then if you are there with a point average of 2, like we are there at the moment, after 46 games, if you can reproduce it also after 46 games, then definitely happy days. And obviously money always helps also to bring some quality in, but it's not always money. It's also about good and hard work, and also creating a good spirit and a good balance, because sometimes just to add one top class player after another and bring another top star in, it can also ruin the whole atmosphere and the whole spirit, and also the identification with the club. So you have to make sure that you spend the money also wisely. Obviously, it's always makes your life easier if you have money and you can buy players, but it doesn't take anything away from that. You have to be there with hard and good work and recruitment, that not just the player, the quality of the player suits you, but also his character, and also that his identification with the shirt is quite important. And for us, I can say we are definitely on a good way.
Do you think it's significant, though, that the 3 relegated sides are in the top 4 at the moment? Is that becoming a bigger and bigger challenge for the rest of the division, the teams who are already here?
Yes, I would think so, because it's obviously that the teams who played just a few months ago or still on Premier League level, quite often they have also proper individual quality, and if they are in good positions, it means okay, they're doing something in the right way in terms of man management, in terms of dealing with a hangover and bring the players again in a position that they are really willing to go on this level. It's credit to a team if you do so, but it's never a guarantee. I can remember my first 3 years in English football, not one team who was relegated from the Premier League was in the top positions after relegation, and not one team was there with direct promotion, at least in my first years. I think it's quite exceptional that during this season all 3 relegated sides are doing that well. But if you're doing that well and you still have strong sides, like very, very strong teams who are just promoted, like Ipswich, for example, but also many other strong sides like West Brom, like Middlesbrough, like all the other teams. Hull is in a good shape. Also, our next opponents, Blackburn, also Sunderland is quite strong. So I think this competitiveness of the championship is really exceptional during the season. It makes our life and all the life of the teams who want to be successful really hard and tough. But it's also why we love this game that much, and also this league. And it's one of the most competitive leagues in the world anyway. And to be successful in this season is even more difficult. So it's definitely not a boring season. That's what I can guarantee. Yes.